What's your emergency?
Welcome back to That Weewoo Show, a podcast where we watch and discuss episodes of the ABC show 911. I'm Bex.
I'm Alice.
And I'm Ellen.
Thank you to everyone who has listened to our episodes so far, who have shared our social media posts, and who have rated us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We appreciate it. Thank you also to everyone who has left comments on whichever platform it is that they are listening to us. Special shout out to Ella, who made the very unwise decision to listen to our episode Bobby Begins again in a public place. And if you've listened to that episode, you know why that was an unwise decision. If you have not listened to that episode yet, what are you doing listening to this episode? Go back and start at season 1 and work your way up. But just be warned that Bobby Begins again involves many, many references to Bobby's rooster. And that is both a euphemism and not a euphemism.
A literal rooster.
It might take Ella a while to get up to this episode. So hi, Ella.
This week's episode, from memory, does not have any roosters in it. So you should be safe to listen to this one in public wherever you are listening to it.
I don't know. We might end up being unintentionally hilarious. So who knows?
We do have a history of going off on tangents, so Lord knows where we will end up this week.
That doesn't sound like us.
Look, I hope we make someone laugh, okay? If we made you laugh, please let us know. It's all I hope for this episode. Anyway, go on.
But before we talk about this roosterless episode, let's go back and discuss what happened last time on 911.
Yeah, so last week on 911, everybody wrapped up their trauma just in time for the holidays with our favourite therapist, Frank. Meanwhile, Bobby was caught in a tunnel with radioactive fire.
All right, so this week we're heading, even though it is now March, just had to remember which month it was there. It is now March. We are going back to Christmas 2019. We are in episode 10, which is titled Christmas Spirit, which first aired, December 2019. The official summary says the 118 responds to a holiday-themed incidents, including a shopper pushed over the edge, a woman who is literally having a blue Christmas, and a luggage handler accident on a tarmac. Meanwhile, Maddie revisits her past to embrace her future, and Bobby receives shocking news. And the triggers for this episode include a brain tumour, cancer, spoiler alert, I guess. We don't worry about spoilers when we're talking about triggers, that's the whole point of them, I guess. Yes. Discussion of domestic violence and abuse during therapy, including flashbacks, a parent at threat and the child having to do CPR, and PTSD. And I guess we can also include Christmas as a trigger because I have to apologise to people of other faiths who don't celebrate Christmas, for instance, because we always seem to end up with Christmas episodes in these shows. I don't know, they never seem to include any other holidays for other faiths.
I was just wondering why we never get a Thanksgiving episode. I mean, this is a very American show, but they seem to go from the Halloween episode to the Christmas episode with no mention of Thanksgiving. And surely, if what I see in American television is correct, the number of people trying to deep fry a turkey, I would anticipate there would be many a call out for oil burns.
That's true.
During Thanksgiving.
There must be heaps of people who do themselves a mischief while cooking turkeys.
Yeah, they do Halloween and then they just don't do Thanksgiving.
That's what I mean. Why not?
Interesting.
While we're talking about, if anyone actually listened to the Holiday Junkie episode that we just posted a couple of weeks ago, please let us know if you enjoyed that and if you like watching things along with us. We'd be happy to do something like that again sometime. But yeah, just...
Or let's make Ellen sit through a Step Up movie.
Oh my God, yes!
I would do that. That'd be fun. That'd be great. But the thing is, it was perfectly timed because just as I had been finishing up that episode to post, I then came and watched this episode. So I was like, oh, we're back into the Christmas spirit.
Yes.
And seeing Maddie getting all excited about Christmas at the end of this was pretty funny. So
yeah. This episode as well will be airing once 911 is back from hiatus.
Oh, yeah.
So now,
So
while you're
we're gradually
listening to
catching
this,
up.
Bex and I may be dead. We'll find out.
Well, don't say that. You might be despairing, or you might be like really, really happy. Who knows?
Yeah, that's it.
Find out.
But as of now, it has not aired yet, so we're very sad.
And I may have blown away in a cyclone. Who knows? The future is in the... Anyway.
Ellen is going to be literally Ellen of Oz, because she's going to be
taken away
to the end of Oz.
to a different place. Oh, God. Let's hope not. Actually, no. You know what? Totally take me away to a different place. Like, this earth is not going well at the moment. Anyway, let's go into this episode. So we're hit in the face immediately with Christmas because we hear "O Come All Ye Faithful" playing. We have a shopping centre parking lot which is full of cars, people in line for car parks and getting upset at each other for stealing car parks. And the lady gets very upset. Well, she doesn't get upset yet. She's just like, what the hell, man? Like, I was waiting for this spot.
I'm going to tangent already, but literally last week I was in line.
God. How many minutes are we into it?
Yeah, we've tangented it already. It's fine.
Yeah, sure.
I was in line for McDonald's and like there was a bunch of people waiting to get into the drive-thru because it was lunchtime and there's only one McDonald's in town. And so I was like waiting in line and then a car just like cut down the side and like went in around everyone else and we were all just like, what the hell? And of course it was a Commodore.
How can you do that though? Normally they're all boxed in by...
Yeah, so the one in town, like the line for the drive-thru is on like, because it's a really old McDonald's, like the position of it. But the line to go in the drive-thru, you sort of all, like we all go to the left. And then if you need to exit from the car park, you just go down the right to get out.
Oh, okay.
So we're all in the
you
left.
Can drive along the side.
Yeah, and so he just drove along the side, like down the other way, like down the way that is usually the exit.
Yeah.
And just like went in and like the car, because I was like just behind, but the car who was about to go in just like lay on their horn and the guy just like kept ordering like normal and we were all just like, what the fuck? Like, I'm like, man, if I wasn't a, 5'2" small person, I'd go out and fight them, but I can't be bothered. Plus they were in a Commodore, so they're scary already.
At least he didn't do it at Athena and like drive to the front of the line, sort of back up.
Yeah, force
to
the cars in line
force everybody out to scatter.
Anyway, yes, this woman she finds a car park and she goes into the store, which is absolute chaos.
It's absolute chaos, and everybody seems to have left their manners at home because the protagonist of this particular scene, which we never get a name for her. So
of course we don't.
We're gonna be calling her like the woman through this entire thing, not because we are trying to disparage her, but simply because in the episode she is not named. I will say that the closed captions give her a name, but I'm sticking with my principle of if we do not hear a name in the dialogue, it does not exist. So the woman holds a door out, being kind and courteous to one person, and then like 5 people just barrel through her in both directions. So she was already upset because she'd been sniped for her car spot, and now everybody is just literally walking over her.
Yeah, it really does show the chaos of Christmas, and it's a little bit of that like Black Friday vibes as well that we see.
Yeah. I will say, just to like ratchet up the tension, she is going into a toy store, or she is going into a big box store, specifically looking for the toy of the year. So it's not going to end well for her no matter what. She's headed into a very high tension situation.
You two have kids. Is the toy of the year still like a thing?
Yeah, there are toys that are the most popular. That if you Google like most popular toy for 10-year-old or whatever, you'll get a list. Like, yeah, it's definitely a thing.
And like, is it like hard to find? Like, is it impossible to get though?
I think this I don't know about you, Ellen, but I have a feeling that with the advent of online shopping, and especially like international online shopping, it's not as hard, because if you can't find it in your local store, you can like order it from that store or order it from another store.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this is only 5 years ago. Like back then, they did have quite a lot of online shopping stuff set up already, but even since COVID, it's become much easier to get things online. But yeah, I don't think I've ever tried to get the most popular thing, so I don't know.
It's very much, what's that movie? Is it Jingle All the Way? Is that the movie I'm thinking of, which is like Arnold Schwarzenegger trying to get the toy? Or
oh, maybe. Oh, it's been a long time since I saw that.
See, this scene just reminded me of the episode of The Office where Dwight buys up all the like toy of the years, and then sells them at like 200% profit.
Okay, yes, I was correct. It's Jingle All the Way, and if anybody is unsure what that movie is, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sinbad. And the summary is Howard finds himself running all over town on Christmas Eve and competing with every parent to get his son a Turbo Man action figure.
That's the whole movie?
That's the whole movie. Every store is sold out, and he must travel all over town and compete with other parents to try and find it.
Wild.
Yeah.
But you two have never like had to fight parents over the toy.
Oh no, I haven't got time for that shit. I'm just like, okay, well, I'm just gonna get whatever's there. I'm not gonna. Yeah.
Because like I have dogs, I just buy them treats for Christmas and throw them outside, so it's fine.
No, I have never personally experienced going into a store and looking for like a dancing duck for my kid and having to fight 5 other parents for it.
Yeah. Never pulled out the pepper spray?
God, no.
Would not work because it's illegal down here, but no.
All right, where are we? Pepper spray. So
yes, because our poor woman who is looking for the dapper duck, which looks like it's some kind of dancing stuffed animal. I'm guessing it's like this year's equivalent of Tickle Me Elmo.
Yeah.
And it is incredibly popular. There is one duck left on the shelf, and as she lunges for it, a fight breaks out, and like literally one man rips the duck from her hands, saying to her, "My kid is better than yours," as he celebrates getting the last one. And I have a feeling that Cody's dad might be trying to win points with Cody with this present. I have a feeling it might be a difficult Christmas for him. But our poor woman, this is just the straw that breaks the camel's back. So she taps Cody's dad on the shoulder. He turns around, ready to gloat some more, and she just hits him in the face with pepper spray.
Yeah,
and then proceeds to spray everybody else in the vicinity.
Yeah, they're all groaning on the floor. And then she's like, "Stay away from me, back off, what is wrong with you people? You people are animals," she says. It's like, whoa. Okay.
As she's wielding pepper spray.
Yeah.
And clutching the box of the dapper duck in one hand. Somebody tries to come and calm her down, tells her to like hold it right there, get your hands up when I can see them. I'm going to need you to hand me the pepper spray. And as she turns around, we see that it's Santa Claus.
It is Santa.
I'm thinking Santa might be like it might be a cop moonlighting as Santa, or maybe a security officer
one
moonlighting
of the store's security guards.
Yeah, because he seems to be very comfortable in this like hostage situation that she's going with the dapper duck. And it seems to be working, but he seems to be talking her down. But unfortunately, as she is about to hand him the pepper spray, his eyes kind of flick to the duck that she's holding, and that just triggers her fight and flight even more. And so Santa gets a face full of pepper spray.
Yeah, while she screams, "My duck!"
But then we cut to outside the store where Athena is handcuffing her.
And she's... I love this. One of the other LAPD's officers is carrying the dapper duck to like the squad car. And even as this woman is being handcuffed, she is thanking the officers for saving the duck for her. And Athena just, without, like, very emotionlessly goes, I'm sorry, that's going into evidence. You're not getting that back.
Yeah. So the 118 have also been called in to treat everyone who's been doused with pepper spray. Like, everyone has, like, red, blistery eyes. It's disgusting.
Santa seems to have gotten the worst of it, or is having the biggest reaction to it.
Because Buck and Bobby have him on one of their gurneys. And, of course, there's a crowd of children gathered around looking because it's Santa getting treated by firefighters. So, really, it's like like every child's dream.
I love this scene.
I love it so much.
Yeah, the little kid's like, is Santa Claus gonna die?
And Buck, I love that Buck, he is trying so hard to be helpful.
But he's trying so hard.
He thinks he is doing the right thing. And he gets down on this kid's level and he's like, oh, no, of course not. Don't you worry. That's not really Santa. The kids are like, he's not real. And Buck's like, no, he's just pretend. It's fine. Bobby behind him. Bobby, who's actually had kids and has had this discussion, is like, Buck, shaking his head like Ixnay on the air to say, cut it out. And then so the parents start revolting. Because it's bad enough that they did not get the dapper duck. Like, Cody's dad is there.
Yeah.
Like, the little kid that's crying because the illusion of Santa has just been destroyed. That's Cody. So
That's
Cody's
Cody,
dad has failed to secure the dapper duck. He's been doused in pepper spray.
Do these guys get named in the actual dialogue at all, though?
Cody does, because Cody's dad comes over and says, hey, Cody, what's the matter?
Okay.
And it's the same guy that was like, my kid is better than yours. So that's why I'm using their names, because as per my rule.
Okay, right. I was just checking on your rule because, you know. Okay, yeah.
But yeah, so this mum comes over and goes, did you just tell my kid that Santa's not real? And Buck's like, no, I was just explaining that this Santa isn't Santa. And, like, look, Santa's just rolling his eyes at this point. The kids are all crying. Cody's, like, sobbing because Santa Claus isn't real. And the parents all look at Buck, and Buck's just like, while grinning.
Please don't kill me.
He looks, like, really tiny when he does that smile, though. So cute.
Buck is 2 apples tall this entire episode.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, all that before the title card.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have put a spoiler alert, don't watch this episode around children, because, spoiler alert, Santa isn't Santa.
Well, all he said
it's just this Santa's not Santa.
This Santa. Like, I've always told my kids that the Santa in the shopping centre is not the real Santa, because otherwise we go to a different shopping centre and there's another Santa there, and I'm like, this is a different guy. Like, you know, anyway.
Yeah, they're Santa's helpers. He reports back to Santa.
Right.
Because Santa can't be everywhere at once. He's busy. It always cracks me up in those movies that you watch where, like, Santa's actually real, but the parents are like, oh no, Santa's not real. Where do they think the presents come from?
Yeah.
Like, the dad's excuse, because I'm sure the dad just thinks that the mum's buying the presents. But, like, where do they think that the presents come from?
Yeah. That's a valid point, because... Anyway, you're not supposed to ask questions like that about Christmas movies.
No, Christmas movies, you definitely just switch your brain off and enjoy the prettiness.
That's true.
Like the twinkly lights.
And the happy times, usually.
Yes.
And the small town romances.
Or the machine guns, depending on your Christmas movie of choice.
Oh, yeah. Falling off of towers.
Yes.
Speaking of falling... No, that's got nothing to do with it. At Bethina residence, which is what we're calling it now. Michael has decided that because Athena hasn't put the tree up yet, he and the kids are going to put the tree up for her, even though it's usually her thing. Okay, man, you don't live there anymore.
Yeah, but... He doesn't live there anymore, but he's going through her closets and he's pulling out Christmas trees and Christmas decorations. Like,
well, to be fair, he probably knows what's in those closets.
It doesn't matter. It's not his house anymore. He was given that key
because he was
in order...
he was hiding in the closet for so long.
Ines, what's right? Yeah. Okay.
Okay. He's given that key to facilitate the children coming backwards and forwards.
And put up Christmas trees, apparently. It's fun.
Oh, God, no.
But yeah, May does make a point. She's like, should we even be doing this without them? Because it is kind of Mum's thing.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, I'd be okay with someone come, like, as we discussed during the movie.
Yes.
I'd be fine if someone came into my house and set up the everything for me. But at the same time, it's like, oh, that's my thing. I like to do that.
Well, see, I think that would be the point, though. The part of the holiday junkie was you don't have the time or the sort of inclination to do it, so therefore you outsource it. But I don't think Athena is the kind of person that would outsource it.
Yeah.
But we are reminded as to why Athena is probably delayed putting up the Christmas tree, because Harry, in that wonderful way of children, asks whether Michael really thinks a Christmas tree is going to make Bobby forget that he might have cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lovely.
I love Harry. He's just so blunt without like intentionally being blunt.
He just says it like it is, like all kids do.
That's it.
Yeah, well, May says this year has been a lot. Like, she doesn't think anyone's really feeling the Christmas spirit. And Michael just says they're going to spread some holiday magic.
Yeah, it's Bobby's
So
first Christmas with his new family, and they're going to do everything they can to make it special for him.
So apparently you have to eat popcorn while you're putting up a Christmas tree?
No, they string it. Popcorn garlands. It's usually popcorn and dried cranberries.
Gotcha. Actually, that sounds delicious. I'm hungry. I just ate dinner. Anyway, so he starts pulling decorations out of the box, and then he finds one that's a little... It kind of looks a bit like a homemade thing, right? Like a kid maybe made it?
I'm guessing May must have made it at school. So it's a family portrait of much, much younger version of the Grant family, and it's got like candy canes glued to it into like a little shape of a Christmas house frame.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then Michael looks pretty sad while he's looking at it, and then he kind of goes... He puts the thing in his pocket.
Well, the front door opens, which means Athena and Bobby have come home. So he turns away, puts his back to them coming in because he's started crying. And he sort of he's still got the decoration in his hand as he turns away. And Athena, rather than castigating her ex-husband for breaking into her house, raiding her closets and setting up a Christmas tree, seems actually pretty happy to see him.
Possibly that's just because he didn't break in.
All right, fine. But still, strike that part from the record, but still going through her closets and setting up a Christmas tree, even though that's her thing. But she is in a very good mood because they've just come back from Bobby's last round of tests.
Yeah, she does say he's not fully in the clear yet, but it's the last test for now. So,
and so at this point, Michael kind of shoves the decoration that's still in his hand in his pocket, rearranges his face and into something that's somewhat approaching happy, and turns back to the group.
Yeah, and says he's got to leave.
Yeah.
It's like, that's great news. Bye.
He's half set up a tree. He's pulled out all the boxes. He's dumped half the decorations on the floor, and now he's leaving.
Yeah. Literally just walks out.
Yeah.
But he's obviously been badly affected by seeing this decoration, and he's like, I'm going to lose it in like 30 seconds. I need to get out of here.
Yeah.
So, and then before he does that, actually, Athena goes over to the tree and she like rubs her hands on it so she can smell it. And I did not even consider that it was actually a real tree until she did that. I was like, just because we always have plastic trees here, like we never use, or hardly ever use real, because the pine trees that grow around here anyway are like radiata pines, and they're no good for hanging anything on because they've got long, thin needles, so you can't put anything on them.
Oh, I forgot that.
You don't have a Christmas tree farm?
Queensland don't do
We
Christmas.
don't-
Yeah.
I don't think they grow here very well. So the pine plantations that we have up here are quite different. Like
so one of my best friends is from Cairns, and she has always dreamed about owning a Christmas tree farm. She actually owns a Christmas business. She's very into Christmas.
Oh my god! So she's like a walking, talking Hallmark romance.
Yeah, literally. Like when we watched The Holiday Junkie, I like sent her the link, and I was like, "You need to watch this because this is your dream career." Anyway, she went to a Christmas tree farm last Christmas for the first time, and I was like, "How have you never been to a Christmas tree farm? Like, we're in our 30s," and she's like, "We don't have them in Queensland."
Nope.
That's
like, what?
Fascinating.
And yeah, I had no idea. There are 2 near where I used to work.
Oh, okay.
Like, literally, they're just, like, around the corner from each other. There's also, like, 3 down where I live now.
I think we have a dedicated Christmas tree farm, but we also have, like, community groups like the Scouts that will go out and harvest pine trees and just sell them on the street corner.
Oh, right.
Yeah, the CFA near where I used to live sold them every year.
Yeah, so does ours.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are a plethora of real tree options down here.
So many real trees and like different types of trees.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. I mean, you might be able to get them up here nowadays, but in the past when we've had one, by the time it was in January and we were getting rid of it, it was very droopy. It didn't like being...
they all dry out very quickly.
And all the needles were just falling off.
Like we're cutting trees off in the middle of summer and expecting them to last.
Yeah.
Anyway, we do have like a plastic tree that we use every year. So, it's reusable, I guess.
Possibly better for the environment than constantly cutting down trees.
But then it was like a glimpse into like someone else's scent memory. Because she went over to the tree and she like rubbed her hands on it and then she inhaled it and I'm like, oh, that must smell so good.
Yeah, the real ones smell good.
Yes, they do. Do we think Eddie has a real tree?
Did Eddie even have a tree? I didn't even
Maybe
notice.
they did last year, didn't they? It was a huge
He had a
one.
massive tree out in the front yard last year. I'm pretty sure there was a tree set up somewhere in that living room. But I was honestly too focused on Buck to notice. So
yeah, absolutely. So we're at the Diaz's house, like the Diaz residence, and Eddie and Hen are catching up over coffee. And Eddie's lamenting to Hen because he let Christopher know that he has to work on Christmas, and Chris just went straight to his room and wouldn't speak to him for the rest of the night. And they, like, it's hard because last year was when Shannon came back, because Christopher wished for Shannon, like his mum, back, and Eddie made it happen. And this year that can't happen.
I also wonder if this might be the first Christmas that Eddie has had to work since he came back from
I'm
working.
assuming so, yeah.
Like he's come back from serving and has made it a priority, or just it has worked out that he's always been with Christopher at Christmas time, and this is the first one where he's had a job where he can't get out of working on Christmas Day.
Yeah, so Christopher's not going to have either of his parents.
And also, like, the first anniversary of Shannon's death and the fact that he wished for her to come back at Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a doozy.
Yeah, it's awful. Yeah. So Hen's like, is that why you invited us all here, trying to cram in as much Christmas cheer before now and then? And Eddie's like, oh, well, I thought it'd be nice to bring the boys together for a play date. And so it pans around to the living room where you see Chris and Denny playing, like they're building Gingerbread Man, and Hen goes, all 3 of them, because Buck's also there.
Yeah, it's
playing with the kids.
So sweet.
So they've got all 3 kids there.
Yes.
And
Buck is making the royal icing for them to build their gingerbread houses with.
Yeah, which he calls cement because obviously they're...
I was really confused for a minute. Like he said, who needs more cement? And I'm like, what are they making? Like Christmas decorations or something? And then like, okay, they've got gingerbread.
Mum won a hamper in a raffle recently, and it had like one of those DIY gingerbread house kits in it.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's February, but sure. But now I feel like, because we're both off work tomorrow, I'll be like, we have to make the gingerbread house. And she'll be like, what Why? What are you doing? It's March.
At least wait until July. Then you can have Christmas in July.
I love gingerbread. It's my favourite.
I love gingerbread. I've got a gingerbread room spray. I love it so much. But yeah, so they're building gingerbread houses. Super cute. But then Chris goes, "Hey, Buck, can I spend Christmas with you?"
Oh,
and
Chris.
Buck's heart just breaks. His smile vanishes, and he like glances at Eddie, and he's like, I'm sorry, buddy. I've got to work on Christmas with your dad."
Poor
And Chris just slouches back and goes, "Stupid work."
And it's so interesting that the entire time that he is talking to Christopher, his eyes are on Eddie.
Oh yeah,
He's
glued
like
to
checking,
Eddie.
like making sure that what he's saying to Chris is fine, or he's waiting for Eddie to jump in and say something.
Or just like being sympathetic that like Eddie's had to deal with this, because I'm sure Eddie's also like ranted at Buck. Like
Yep.
They probably FaceTimed and was just like, yeah, he won't speak to me. But yeah. Also Buck's probably worried that he just told Christopher that Santa's not real too. Hannah assures Eddie that Chris will forget he's even mad by New Year's. And at this point, Buck gets up and joins the adults and is like, "Is it just me or does Christmas suck this year?"
Yeah, it's been a rough year for everyone, Hen says. She's looking forward to putting this year behind me. And Buck says, "I wouldn't be surprised if there's one more smack in the face to come." And I'm like, dude, it's 2019. Like, you have no idea what is about to come around the corner for you. You want to put this year behind you? Just wait.
None of us had any idea.
It's not even that. I'm just like, damn, Buck, you like, that's the equivalent of saying the Q word on shift.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the context of this episode, yes, that is a shitty thing to say.
But in the grander scheme of things, like, yeah, you have no idea. Then we get the smack in the face. The smack in the face comes in the form of a check made out to Maddie for $486,329.
Yeah, just a small amount. You know how it is.
Just a tiny amount, but it is apparently Maddie's share of the marital assets. Doug's estate has obviously been settled, and that is what Maddie is entitled to.
Yeah. And she wasn't expecting it. She says, even now he can't let me have any peace. It feels like blood money.
Yeah, so Maddie thought she wasn't entitled to anything legally, but her lawyer says that the Slayer statute only applies to murder.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we're about to get a Bex's fun facts.
So the Slayer statute is...
The Slayer statute. What a great name. It sounds
the
like
first time
something
I
that should
heard
be on
about it,
Buffy.
I thought... Yeah, I thought it was like very Buffy-esque. But it basically, in a nutshell, it basically means that you can't kill somebody to get their inheritance.
Okay.
So if you
That makes
are
sense.
a beneficiary to somebody's estate, you can't kill them in order to claim your benefits under the estate.
That's
Because the
probably a
court-
good idea. Yeah.
The court will assume that you killed them in order to inherit, so they're not going to reward that kind of behaviour. But Maddie's lawyer, actually Chim, who's apparently got a law degree as well as a medical degree and every other thing that he's got, reminds Maddie...
he had to look up a lot while making the Snuggie, okay?
He reminds Maddie that it was self-defense. So she was not convicted of murder. I probably wasn't even charged with anything. And tells her that money is the least that Doug owed her. Funnily enough, apparently Tim Minear had an entire storyline with what Maddie was going to do with this money.
Oh.
Oh
And
my
they-
god, I thought you were going to say that Tim Minear committed murder or something, and I was like, what?
That's an interesting segue, but no. No, there was a storyline about Maddie and what she was going to do with this money, and they shot scenes relating to Maddie deciding what to do with this money. It just never made it into the episode. I think he was going to put it in later on in the season and just never got in there because I have no recollection of what she does with that money. So I would be fascinated to while I'm picking Timonia's brain for everything else, just to go, hey, by the way, what did Maddie do with that money?
We'll have to keep it in mind. It's like when we were trying to work out if Buck had millions of dollars.
Yes.
We'll have to keep it in mind, and every time Maddie buys a coffee, we're like, oh, how many shots of hazelnut did you put in that? Or peppermint, rather.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, gross. No.
No, it's really nice. Look, I had a peppermint. I went to Starbucks, after we watched the movie, I went there randomly because my daughter is obsessed with Starbucks because she keeps seeing it on YouTube, and she's like, can we go to Starbucks? I'm like, but it's just not
It's bad.
that nice. It's expensive and it's not great. Anyway, we went to there and I got a peppermint mocha and it was delicious. It was very sweet, but it was
well, chocolate and mint is good, so yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's not. No.
All right, let's agree to disagree. And
all right, ignore the Grinch over there.
And ignore her because she's wrong. And also the lawyer says that she can donate it or burn it and whatever she wants to do it with it, but it's her money, so she can decide.
According to the state of Pennsylvania, the money's hers.
So she takes it, leaves LA, and opens a holiday decorating consulting business.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
Check out our Holiday Junkie episode if you
To see what Maddie did with that money. She changed her name. Resurrected
and then married
Doug.
Wait a minute. Yeah.
Bought some like really chunky red glasses.
Hung out in Buck's loft for a bit.
Oh yeah. Anyway, speaking of leaving LA, we're going to the airport.
We are going to the airport.
Get a nice establishing shot of the LAX sign at the front of the airport.
We've got a family who has decided to head to Hawaii for a destination Christmas. I was laughing because is it the mum that's just like, oh, it's not going to feel Christmassy because it's going to be 90 degrees?
Yes.
Yeah.
The dad's like, it's a 5-degree difference from LA.
Yeah, exactly. That argument does not hold weight.
Welcome to warm Christmases.
Yeah.
They're great.
Yeah.
Honestly, they're amazing.
But yeah, so they, it's parents and is it 2 kids?
Yes.
I think so, yeah.
I think
so it's like traditional.
It's the nuclear family.
Yeah.
Like the mum, dad, and the boy, girl.
2.5 kids, yeah.
Yeah.
And the 0.5 in this case is a bag of golf clubs.
Yeah.
Exactly. The dad is obsessed with these golf clubs. They go to check in and they're checking in with a person. Like, oh my God, you remember, when was the last time you checked in with a person at the airport?
Yeah.
I think the last time I did that, it was because I was running late and they were like closing my flight and I had to go through the person to make sure that I got on board on time.
You sometimes do for international flights, but, well, I do anyway in Brisbane, but domestic, no. Just there's a machine.
The Melbourne airport is so big compared to like most other airports. Like I'm assuming Sydney is also pretty big. I just haven't been to the Sydney airport.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything's automated now. Like you just scan a thing, put it on the conveyor belt, and it just does everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was amazed. I flew Qantas out of Melbourne, and even bag drop was automated.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have to speak to a person the entire time I was in that airport.
And then, because the last flight I went to was the Gold Coast for work. And yeah, like we leave Melbourne, which is this highly sophisticated airport, and we get to the Gold Coast, which is like tiny. It's
the Gold Coast airport's really tiny, yeah.
Yeah, it's so cute and touristy, and there's just palm trees, and there's like, they don't have anything automated. And so going back again, we had to like give everything to the people there, and we're just like, oh, like we can't just scan the thing and put our luggage down. And like all the security checks were so slow, but there's only like not that many people at the airport, so it doesn't matter. Whereas Melbourne, there's like a million things and it's all automated. There's body scanners. You hardly have to remove anything anymore.
Actually,
like you don't have to take anything out of bags or anything.
Now that I think about it, when I was on my way back from the US and I was actually checking into my flight home in LA, like LAX, I had to check in with a person. My Qantas flight wasn't one of the ones that was available at the automatic check-in system. So I had to actually line up and see somebody.
I'm hoping you did not try to carry on a bag of golf clubs as your carry-on.
No, I was going for a convention, not to play golf.
Hey, Jensen, can you sign my golf
Yeah.
clubs that I
Oh my
just
God,
happened to
could you
bring all the way?
Oh my God, he would love that if you showed up
He
with
would
a set
love
of
that.
golf clubs.
He actually would, but I feel like security wouldn't love it.
Oh no, Cliff
You-
would be giving you a side eye. A serious
You walk
side-eye.
into the Creation Con and Cliff just spear tackles you.
People do turn up with some very weird props, though.
If half of Misha's stories can be believed, then yes.
Yeah, I'm thinking of like the taxidermy squirrel.
Yeah,
and-
that's what I was
yeah.
thinking of too.
Yeah.
Yep.
The person who's collecting the bags says, you need to check in your golf clubs. And he's like, oh, no, I'm going to carry these on. And she's like, no,
Yeah, like
give me the
no,
golf clubs.
So you cannot carry.
Yeah, it's a
You've
TSA
never-
policy. Like, Jesus Christ, have you never flown before?
I am pretty sure even in like the heyday of aviation, like in the Pan Am days, where Stuart, you're allowed to smoke on board. I'm pretty sure you were still not allowed to carry golf clubs on board.
Yeah.
There isn't anywhere for them to go.
Exactly.
They
Maybe-
don't fit overhead.
Maybe he bought an extra seat for them.
Yeah,
That
maybe.
wouldn't even surprise me with this guy.
Anyway, he's like, please be gentle with them. And she just like grabs him and chucks him on the conveyor.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, sure.
Compared to the actual baggage handlers down on the tarmac, she was gentle with them.
She was very gentle.
Baggage handler's not so gentle.
We see the clubs go through the conveyor belt, which leads to outside on the tarmac where the baggage handlers are loading all of the luggage, the checked luggage, onto little carts to then take them over to a plane for loading. And we have two baggage handlers that we're going to follow. One of them appears to be working on, we just need to get this shit onto the airplane as fast as possible. Perhaps he's working on commission. The more bags he gets packed, the higher his wage. The other guy seems to be a little bit more conscientious and is actually worried that people have entrusted their bags to them and they need to treat them with respect, especially at this time of year because they could be full of presents and those presents could be fragile.
I feel like we need to call these two Tortoise and Hare.
Because one of them's really fast and one of them's really slow.
Yep. So, yeah, as Hare grabs the bag from Tortoise's hands and tosses it into the cart, you hear a generic glass-breaking sound clip.
Which would not happen in reality, but just to really reiterate that present was fragile and something has broken.
Yeah.
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 So the golf clubs, of course, show up, and Tortoise grabs them and is like, oh, well, there's no room left, we'll wait for another cart. And Hell's like, no, give me those. And grabs them and, tosses them or slams them down into the front of the cart, but hits the accelerator.
Yeah, so off goes the cart.
Yeah. all on
Because
its own.
apparently the engine was on or in slamming down the clubs on the accelerator, he has turned the key and turned the engine on. I don't know. It's this entire scene is so stupid and so
And then we
far
get some
from reality.
lovely Nutcracker Christmas music going. Some ballet as the cart goes.
Yes, we get
round and round in circles.
baggage cart ballet.
Yeah.
Benny Hill would have also worked for this scene.
Yes.
Yes, but it's not Christmassy.
Because the cart's going around in circles and people are trying to catch it. One of the air marshals who's trying to direct a plane gets taken out. Luggage is getting flung around onto the tarmac, and the passengers in the gate lounge waiting for their flight start watching, and of course the dad sees that his golf clubs are involved and is panicking.
He's freaking out.
Yeah.
So Tortoise goes, fuck this shit, I'm gonna fix this. Jumps into another golf cart, and then has to, turn the key and crank the engine to get it starting. He can't just slam his foot on the accelerator and have it take off. And he goes full dodgem cars and just drives straight for the pirouetting baggage cart and slams into it, knocking it onto its side.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that Tortoise was watching the news that day that the kid in the... Was it the BMW? Or the...
Oh,
Porsche?
yeah. The fancy car.
The fancy car, or the old car.
Yep.
Pretty sure he watched when that was out of control and it crashed into the fire truck, because he does pretty much the same maneuver.
Pretty much, but Phil Collins does not play. We've still got
it's
Tchaikovsky going.
Yeah. Anyway,
he seems pretty pleased with himself because he jumps free from the cart, and is sort of accepting his accolades. This is so stupid because it would never happen. It would absolutely never happen. The plane would not be taxiing with its engines going at this point because it's so fucking close to the gate lounge.
Right next to the terminal.
Yes.
Right next to it.
It's right next to it. Its engines would be off. Oh my god.
So basically, the
not to
plane
mention
sneaks up on
there's
him.
people all over the tarmac. So
Yes.
yeah.
So, air traffic control would not have directed the plane to come in. When planes push back, the little cart pushes it back. They don't actually turn their engines on until they're out on, the runway part, and they're under their own power. But regardless, LAX is, the Wild West of airports, apparently. So, a plane is either coming in or leaving out with its turbines going, and Tortoise gets knocked. It's the turbine starts to generate a bit of a wind, and luggage that has been scattered all over the tarmac gets, including the golf clubs, into the turbine, dragging Tortoise with them.
Yeah.
And then it just cuts to black.
911 call. Yeah.
And it was a bit of a shock to see it the first time, because I wasn't thinking at the time that this would never have happened, but I was just enjoying the ballet music and the
Oh, the ballet music is
this
pretty.
Is so funny. Oh, this is funny. Oh, he managed to stop the cart. Yay! And then all of a sudden he just gets sucked into the engine. It's like, oh, that's not good.
We get the 911 call, as in we get the blip, and the 911. What's your emergency?
No one speaks.
But then it cuts to commercial before.
Yeah, they
actually
can't even. They can't even get a weird explanation for this one.
They're just
I don't know what this plane was doing, but it was there. Anyway, 118 are there. The aircraft was taxiing. The fans were spinning.
Which wouldn't have
the
been.
guy explaining what happened. So Bobby just looks at it and goes, "Buck, Eddie, get me everything."
Yep.
So they run off to get everything.
And we can see that they've turned the engine off, so the propellers are no longer spinning, and there's debris and stuff wedged in the propeller, and a pair of legs just sort of hanging out.
Yeah. So Bobby tells the airport officer to clear the tarmac and the window, because there are still a lot of passengers looking down, and Bobby is clearly expecting this to not be great.
There's going to be bits of the sky everywhere.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Bobby is expecting that this is body retrieval, not a rescue operation.
Yeah, absolutely. But then the baggage, Tortoise's legs move.
And they've got a live one.
And Bobby says they've got to take this thing apart now, so they just get a bunch of tools from...
They literally just use drills.
This episode is sponsored by Milwaukee. Because they're using Milwaukee drills.
Right.
But yeah, after telling them to get everything, so you're thinking jaws of life. No, they're just using hand drills.
Yeah, hand drills, and they're just
apparently
they're unscrewing the
easily...
carapace, and that's what I was wondering. Would you be able to use the regular handheld drill to unscrew the bolts of an airplane?
Just use it Phillips head screwdriver. Easy.
That makes me very worried about hopefully, if it's a Boeing, I could understand if things are just falling off. But it makes me worried about, the structural integrity if a Milwaukee cordless hand drill can, unscrew the propellers.
So it reminds me, I keep seeing TikToks of that guy who's, the aircraft engineer or whatever, and people ask him if this is safe, and he's like, oh, yeah, this is just a normal thing that happens. Just like in Lord of the Rings where blah, blah, and he goes off on this tangent about explaining Lord of the Rings stuff.
I love him. He's so hilarious.
Good. I love him. So now every time I see something about airline safety, I just expect that guy to show up, and I'm really sad when he doesn't. But anyway. But yeah, this guy is like in one piece. He's fine.
Yeah, he's bleeding a little bit, but not much at all.
So rather than check him for like, you know, structural damage, they just yank him out of there. Like he could have like a broken neck or something, but just pull him out. He'll be fine.
They pull him out fairly like it's not like they sit him up or anything.
I'm guessing that they can't do anything for him while he is in there, so they do need to get him out. I would have hoped that they at least put a seat collar on him before they yanked him out.
You'd hope so, wouldn't you? But anyway.
And then Buck discovers why this guy is still in one piece when he appears around from the back of the turbine with a very mangled set of golf clubs and reports that apparently they got sucked in first and they locked up the blades, which, you know, if I were the golf club manufacturer, I would be thrilled, because look at how sturdy these golf clubs are, that they managed to stop.
They just got bent.
A propeller. Yes, they didn't snap. They didn't break. They're mostly still straight. I don't think you could possibly go out and, you know, hit a round with them, but, you know, that's some good quality shit there. Yeah. And while everybody on the tarmac is absolutely amazed and thankful for these golf clubs, Dad up in the lounge has a very different reaction.
The rest of the people up there are all cheering because they see the guy being pulled out of there. And they're all like, yay, he's okay. And yeah, the dad just faints away. He's down.
And we go back to the tarmac, and Bobby is still like thrilled and amused at the idea that these golf clubs have saved this guy's life. But when Buck turns back to look at him, Bobby has a nosebleed. And Buck's face just drops as he points out to his captain that he's got a nosebleed.
Yeah.
Because this could be something quite serious.
Yeah, so we go back to the station house where Bobby's trying to reassure Buck that it could have been allergies, it could have been the Santa Anas, it could have been how cold it was out there, and Buck's just grilling him. Was this your first nosebleed? Have your gums been bleeding? Do you have a rash anywhere I can't see?
So and Buck's been like, Googling.
Are you diagnosing me?
I mean, Bobby, you do it all the time.
That's their superpower,
so.
Yeah.
But also, like we saw in the last episode, Athena sort of Googling radiation poisoning. So apparently Buck is doing exactly the same thing.
So after, because obviously we've seen this entire episode, do you reckon Buck and Athena have been messaging each other since the tunnel?
Yes. 100%.
Okay, Athena, you take the home shift, I'll take the station house, and we'll keep an eye on him.
Aww.
But yeah, Buck's like, I haven't noticed any shortness of breath or bruising, but you could be hiding symptoms like a headache, dizziness, irregular heart rate. Are you? But Bobby assures Buck that he's not hiding symptoms. He's not hiding symptoms because he's not having any symptoms of whatever Buck thinks that he has.
I think that this next exchange is really cute.
The best.
Buck is worried that prolonged exposure to radiation can cause aplastic anemia. And did Bobby know that aplastic anemia is what killed Marie Curie? And Bobby looks at him and says, like, number one, no, I did not know that. And number two, I did not know that you knew who Madame Curie was. And Buck's like, well, I had to look her up, but she was a really smart lady. And she still died.
And she still died from too much exposure to radiation. I just love that. But she was a really smart lady. 2 apples tall.
He's so baby girl in this episode.
Oh, I love him so much.
Gender neutral, of course.
Obviously.
But Buck's education aside, Bobby is more concerned with the real problem, which is they have a tie for Christmas dinner. Because while Buck has been interrogating him, they've been sitting in the back of one of the engines, and Bobby has been counting little slips of paper. So apparently everyone in the 118 voted for what they were going to do for Christmas dinner this year. And it has come out with 5 people with 5 votes for burgers and 5 votes for Chinese, which Buck is absolutely horrified by because he voted for turkey.
Yeah, poor Buck wanted a traditional Christmas. But apparently nobody else did.
No,
Yeah, he was the only one.
The falafel place got more votes than turkey. So Bobby says, you know what, I'm just not up for cooking Christmas this year. I'm going to switch my vote to Chinese so that we have a majority. We're having Chinese for Christmas.
And Buck immediately goes, fatigue, also a symptom. Come here. And puts the back of his hand on Bobby's forehead to check his temperature.
Like, keep in mind, this is his boss.
Yeah.
He is...
This is the guy he tried to sue like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. Bobby's got that little smirky face on that means that he's actually really touched by all of this. But, like, seriously, I'm fine. Like, stop it. But there's nothing to worry about. He says, my grandmother always used to say, don't go borrowing trouble. But Buck explains that he knows that he does dumb things sometimes and drives him crazy. But you're an important person in my life, Bobby. Aww. So sweet. He doesn't know what he would do if anything were to happen to Bobby.
Yeah.
But yeah, he did just try and sue him, like...
Yeah.
He drives him crazy for actual legitimate reasons. All right, it's back to therapy.
Back to Frank's office.
Maddie is there
I don't know.
again.
Yeah, I don't know if Hen and Eddie are still going, but Maddie is definitely still going. I guess she's been re-triggered with the appearance of this check, and also Christmas was a really difficult time for her.
Well, she was the one at the end of the last episode who was like, okay, I'm ready to actually talk now.
Yeah.
So here she is actually talking.
She says that most of her adult life, Doug was there, and now that he's gone, she doesn't really know how to move on from that. And, you know, Frank says that you still refer to him like he's really here, but he's gone. And Maddie realises that she's the one who's holding on to, you know, she needs to let him go, basically. So Frank convinces her to go back to Big Bear.
To where Doug died.
Yeah.
And Maddie's like, you want me to go to Big Bear? That's like a 5-day trip.
Yeah.
Frank's confused because normal people, it only takes like 2 hours, but you know.
The funny thing is that later it actually does take them.
It actually does take them
yes.
ages.
But he
And
says,
I think
yeah.
I made a note go, wait, it wasn't just Doug's driving, it really does take that long.
Yeah. It's the holiday traffic.
Even Buck's just like, why is it taking you guys so long? It takes me like 2 minutes to get to Big Bear.
Yeah.
We're there every second weekend just to hang out. Anyway, yeah, so Frank wants her to go back to where Doug hurt her the most and talk to him out loud and let him go.
Which sounds absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, no thanks, but sure. You're the therapist. You're the TV therapist, Frank.
So while Maddie is contemplating that, we're going to go back to the Athena household where it is, I'm guessing, later that night. Athena is asleep and suddenly the blankets get pulled off her. There's a little bit of a tug of war with the blankets. She pulls them back on, they get pulled back off, and she very sleepily mutters to her bedfellow to stop being greedy. And as she rolls over and snuggles up to them, she's awake enough to realise that it is slightly strange that there's a person in bed with her because she thought Bobby had a shift. But then the person in bed with her lets out this almighty, very un-Bobby-like snore, and she realises that it's her ex-husband.
She's like suddenly wide awake. She's like,
So not only is he letting himself into the house to cook dinner and to raid her closets and set up Christmas trees, now he's invited himself over for sleepovers.
yeah. Good one, Michael.
So when Bobby comes home from the shift that he really was on, he finds his wife asleep on the couch. And he's a little bit confused. He's like, why are you sleeping out here? And she says, my ex-husband snores. And Bobby's like, I'm sure he does, but why are you out here? She's like, yeah, because Michael's in bed.
Yep.
He's even more confused, and Athena is not helping him because it's like, why is Michael in the bed? And Athena's like, oh, I didn't want to ask him.
Yeah. Athena's like, I'm not dealing with this shit. I'm just going back to bed.
And then Michael comes out and he looks so sheepish. He's like,
he's so confused.
So embarrassed. But Michael's just like, hi. And Athena's, good morning. And Bobby just goes, hi, Michael.
He's like, this is awkward. Like,
yeah, you think?
Bobby's actually, like, really remarkably okay with this.
Yeah, he doesn't seem too bothered. He's just confused mostly, I think. But Michael doesn't even remember coming there last night. And he just says he's been having trouble sleeping. He hasn't been drinking or anything. But apparently one of the side effects of his sleeping pills is could be sleepwalking. But he drove over here.
Yeah, like he has his keys.
And Bobby explains about parasomnia. And apparently people do all sorts of things while they're sleeping. And which is totally true. Like you can, go about your daily routine while being completely asleep. That is something that happens to people. But
I do like that in the list of things that people have been known to do while still fully asleep, he's got, they've often have sex, and then looks backwards and forwards and goes, not that is what I'm saying happened here. And Athena just goes, well, I think I would have noticed.
Yeah.
I'm sure I've read a fic about that. Anyway, Michael's like, I'm mortified. And Bobby's like, you need to tell your doctor about this because it could end up being dangerous. And then Michael just gets out his keys and just removes his house key and puts it on the table. And he says, I want to make sure that I don't walk into your house or your bedroom again in the middle of the night.
And this is sad. Athena says to him that, Michael, this is your house too. And he just looks at her and says, no, it's not. Apologizes profusely, drops the key and runs.
Yeah. I mean, he's finally realised that maybe it's time to let go.
I mean, to be fair, he had the key for the kids, so that made sense.
Yes, but they're also old enough that, like, May is old enough, she could have had her own key. Like, I know that, like, my ex has a key to my house, but my eldest also has a key. So if I really wanted to, I could tell my ex to give back the key, but he uses it to come over and get the kids' shed when I'm not home.
Yeah, right.
But May and Harry are old enough and seem to be able to move around enough that they could just have keys and be okay.
Like, my best friend had a key to my house just so she could come get the dogs whenever she wanted, but that's because we co-own both of them, technically, so...
Yeah. So yeah, so while your ex having keys to your place is useful, I don't necessarily think that it's necessary for Michael to have one in this instance anymore.
Yeah, well, he sure thinks that he shouldn't have it, so, puts the key down and runs out again.
So then I think we flash forward a couple of days, or at least a day or so, because Buck is at the 118, clearly on duty, but he's on the same duty schedule as Bobby, and Bobby has just come home from shift in the last scene.
Oh yeah, it must be the next.
So it's either
at
least 24 hours or a couple of days later. Buck is on the phone with Maddie. Although, interestingly, he says, so are you sure you don't mind calling Athena? Which makes me question whether, like 30 seconds earlier we were saying, do you think Buck and Athena have been, like, mother-henning it over Bobby on a group chat? I don't think so. Based on that line. I think Buck...
I think Buck would have, but because he's on shift, he doesn't want Bobby to know that he's calling Athena.
Maybe. I have a feeling that he's still terrified of her.
Oh, yeah,
From,
absolutely.
like, the first season.
Who isn't?
They've never, even after, going to Big Bear together, I have a feeling that he's still, like, afraid of her. Speaking of going to Big Bear, Maddie's on a road trip with Frank.
With Frank.
Yep.
And once again, she is not driving.
Oh, yeah, that must be bringing back some memories.
Frank is driving her to Big Bear. I would have thought that it would have been more helpful for her to physically drive herself there, but maybe Frank is not a passenger princess. Maybe he's one of those guys that just he has to be in control of the vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she had important phone calls to make too. But yeah, Buck's surprised that they're still in the car because, Big Bear's usually 2 hours away. But Maddie blames the holiday traffic in LA this time.
Yeah, it sounds like Buck wanted to be there, but he couldn't be there because he was working, so...
I don't think and as Maddie said, he couldn't do anything. This is something that she needs to do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So she and Frank finally get to Big Bear, which is... there is no snow at Big Bear, despite it being December.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe...
I guess it's too
They don't
early.
I know.
Still.
We had a discussion about
we
the
were
snow
talking
season
about
for
it,
Big Bear. I was just surprised. They pull up in front of the cabin that Doug had commandeered, and Maddie wants to know, is she supposed to go up to the cabin and knock on the front door and go like, "Hi, can I come in and relieve my trauma?" And Frank says to her that he thinks that they both know that the cabin is not the place where Doug hurt Maddie the most, and looks out at the dam and the walkway that goes across the dam and leads out into the forest.
Yeah, did she, explain the whole thing to him? I guess she must have, because otherwise how would he know that this is not the place?
Either they've talked it through, or maybe he got police reports.
Yeah.
Read statements. It's for the drama.
Yeah. Well, Maddie does go along the walkway that we saw before, and we do get flashbacks to that other episode where she is running away from Doug. And we hear his voice, telling her she can't keep running, which is pretty horrifying. But she gets all the way to the forest where it all happened, I guess, and she... starts talking to Doug and says, "I never wanted you to die, but I do forgive you." And she has a little speech about
once again, Jennifer Love Hewitt is talking to ghosts.
Oh, she is.
But this time they're not talking back.
They're not talking back? There's no whispering happening?
It would be a very different episode if she gets out there and, shit starts moving and, Bark starts
and Doug's ghost is
at her.
there.
And Doug's ghost is attacking her.
And then she has to set fire to something and put salt on it.
Yeah, grab some salt, grab some an iron
like a fireplace
poker. Yeah.
And the Impala rolls into view behind her.
But no, she tells him quite firmly that she's leaving him here and she's going to live because she will not be sorry for surviving.
Yeah. Screw you, Doug.
And off she goes.
So we cut to commercial, and when we come back, we're in a random house.
Oh my god, this scene made me cry.
And once again, we have a female character who is not named. I don't think any of the female characters in this episode are named, so she's just going to be Mum, okay?
Yeah.
The kid is named. The kid is Leo. So it's just going to be Mum and Leo, and I would love to challenge the 911 writers to actually name their female characters in their dialogue, please, or do something that indicates what their name is. So now that I'm off my soapbox, Leo is sucking up to his mother by cooking her dinner because he has updated his Santa list, which is now 2 pages long.
So he needs extra brownie points.
Yes.
Santa points.
But he ranked them in order of importance so that she can prioritize. And when his mum says, "You mean so Santa can prioritize?" he's just like, "Come on. I know.
Yeah, there would have been no worries if Buck had been talking to Leo. Or if Leo
None
had been
at
there
all,
when
yeah.
Santa got sprayed, Leo would have been going like, dude, are you okay? I know you're not Santa, are you okay?
Leo would have been like, he's not even the real Santa. He's pretend.
He would have been lecturing the other kids.
But so while Leo is okay with his mother no longer pretending that there is a Santa Claus, his mother tells him that she likes pretending because Christmas and all of the lights and music, the pretending, it just makes the world feel a little bit more magical. But while she's talking to Leo, she's like wincing and pulling faces and rubbing at her chest. And at some point the pain gets really bad and she asks Leo to get her a glass of water because she also sounds like she's struggling to breathe.
Yeah.
And he turns to get her the glass of water, and in the background we see her stagger and fall over and drag the Christmas tree down with her. And so Leo calls 911.
And it's Maddie who got back to work very quickly.
Yeah, because this must be the next day or something if she's gone back to work immediately.
Either that or, like, it's, you know, when you sort of got peak hour traffic, but peak hour is only going in one direction. So maybe
everyone's trying to get Big Bear took 30
everyone's
minutes.
trying to get out of LA and no one's trying to get into LA. So it was much quicker coming back in. So Leo reports that his mother fell down and she won't wake up. And when Maddie realizes that there is nobody else in the house with Leo, she talks him through doing CPR. Because while she has dispatched the 118, it would be helpful to his mother if he were to start CPR and keep CPR going until the paramedics get there.
Yeah, poor Leo. He's absolutely terrified. He's only 10.
He's only 10. He does a really good job following Maddie's instructions, and Maddie does a really good job of talking him through what to do, and she counts with him over the phone. And it's all going well until Leo, because he is doing the compressions correctly, he cracks a rib.
Ugh.
And
it's actually the sternum.
It freaks him out.
So when you're doing CPR, you should actually crack the sternum if you're doing it correctly. So you'll hear a crack, and that means you have to just keep going.
Yeah, but if you're 10 years old, your mother won't wake up and all of a sudden you're breaking parts of her body.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That it would be terrifying.
Yeah.
And Maddie is like, yes, that just means that you're doing it right. You just need to keep going. And so he does keep going until the 118 show up, and Bobby tells him that they've got it from there. Pulls Leah away so that Chim and Hen can get in and assess.
But when Bobby tries to pull him away, he's like, no, the 911 lady said I have to keep doing this.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
Leo. Yeah. He's so scared. But he lets them do their thing, and they shock her, and
their thing includes Chimney just eyeballing her and go, oh yeah, it's definitely cardiac.
Yeah, 100% cardiac.
Yeah.
You haven't even looked at her.
But, like, after that, no one speaks to Leo, until
they kick him outside.
Yeah, he's just sitting there. No one's told him what's happening, and he just says when Hen comes out. I don't know why Hen's not in the ambulance going off with
that's so
Mum.
Weird, isn't it? Because they load the mother into the ambulance, and we see Chim drive off, yet Hen is still in the house.
Yeah, but Hen's not there. So
yeah.
And for some reason the police are there now too.
Are they? No, I thought it was just the child services person who...
No, because it was
he
the
even
police.
says the police officer won't let me go with my mum.
Oh, okay.
And we hear...
Leo thinks that he's in trouble. It's heartbreaking.
Poor Leo.
We hear someone over the radio tell Bobby that child services is on the way.
Okay. And then he's like, is it because I hurt her? Like, I didn't mean to hurt her. And Hen's like, no, of course you're not in trouble. Then she says, you did everything right. I think you probably saved her life. But yeah, he's still terrified. But like the cop that shows up and comes to look after Leo.
No, so family services aren't there yet.
So I'm assuming that having police respond would be sort of just like you get police, you get fire at the same time, especially if there is an unaccompanied minor on the scene. Maddie would have dispatched LAPD. So LAPD are there. They are going to sit with Leo until Child Protective Services get there.
And then she turns around to Hen and says, "Merry Christmas, Wilson." And Hen just looks like she's not at all having a Merry Christmas.
It's not
But
a
she
very
says,
Merry
yeah.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
So someone else who is not having a very Merry Christmas is Michael.
Oh, God, this scene is like the perfect kind of representation of being overstimulated in a shopping centre at Christmas.
Isn't it?
Yeah, being overstimulated and with a migraine.
So is he actually medically ill, or is he just like neurodivergent?
Maybe. It's like, oh my God, there's music and people coming at me from every direction. I can't handle it.
That's what always terrifies me, because I get migraines so often that I'm just like, if something actually was wrong with me, I'd have no idea. I'd just be like, oh, it's just a migraine, it's fine. It's just been lasting for 7 months. You know how it is. Because before I realised I needed glasses, I literally had a migraine every day.
Oh my God.
Oh, and the glasses fixed that?
4 months. Yeah, it was because my eyes were uneven. So, one was long-sighted, one was short-sighted, so they were constantly straining, and so the eye strain, caused migraines.
Yeah, okay.
And yeah, I was just like, oh, it's just a part of my life. I just get really bad migraines and just have to take medication all the time. It turned out I needed glasses. I seriously just thought I had chronic migraines.
Wow.
But yeah, now they're mostly hormonal.
Well, that's
a
nice, easy fix, though. As fixes go, glasses are pretty easy to deal with.
But yeah, now, if something actually was wrong, I'd just be like, oh, it's just a migraine. You know how it is. It's fine. I've just had it for 7 months. Yeah,
so Michael's not enjoying things. He's walking through a mall, a shopping mall. Everything's blurry. He can't really see what's going on except what's right in front of him. And his hearing is kind of distorting and the music is weird. And then he doesn't walk through the doors. He walks through the window beside the doors. Just smashes right through it.
No.
No?
What the fuck kind of glass are they making those windows of that you can just smash straight through them like that? No.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they would need to be pretty tough.
He would have walked into it and bounced off.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, for the drama, he walks right through it.
He goes straight through it, yes.
Yeah.
And ends up in the hospital. Possibly because he has some pretty wicked contusions on his face from when he went face first through very thin, sugar glass. But also the fact that he walked through said glass and people are concerned. Apparently he called Athena to let her know that he was in the hospital, or somebody called Athena to let her know.
Yeah.
But basically she shows up at the hospital.
She has spoken to him because he told her that he was going to get an Uber home from the hospital. And she went, fuck that, I'm coming down there. And she told them she was his wife, to get in to see him.
Yeah, it's interesting with these two that, technically that they are no longer married and she is actually somebody else's wife, but they do use the husband and wife card in case of emergency.
I guess they were together a long time.
Yeah. Athena is worried, though, because this is just the latest incident in a long line of incidents. And she is very confused as to why the doctors don't think that all of these incidences are incidences. No, just incidents. Because it's one incident, two incidents.
Yes.
Yeah, there is, yes. But Michael is downplaying the entire thing and he says, I also think that they are all related to sleep deprivation. He's like, I'm so sleep deprived, I'm probably legally drunk right now. Ha ha ha, isn't that funny?
But he does promise that after the holidays he'll get a full checkup.
And then he pulls the divorcee card. He's like, I'm not sleeping. God, Athena, this is my first Christmas alone. Which it's not.
Yeah.
Because there was last Christmas.
No, I think the difference is last year he had a boyfriend.
Did he still have the boyfriend at this point?
Yeah, because the boyfriend and him didn't break up until, like, Bobby and Athena's wedding, I think? Or just before it?
No, he and the boyfriend broke up when Harry was setting fire to the front lawn with the white trash kid from school. I don't care enough to look back and try and figure out where that is in the timeline, though.
Let's just let that one be. But Athena assures him that he's not alone. You have a family that loves you. I love you. And then Michael just breaks down and he's like, I love you too. I love you so much. It's like, whoa. Yeah. He doesn't want her to worry about him, but too late, she already is worrying.
She will always come and get him.
It's really sweet in like a slightly worrying way because he is acting like kind of weirdly.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Very weirdly. But we are going to head to the Wilson household for a little bit, where Karen is apparently using Christmas presents as insulation. She's just filled the attic with Christmas presents. And what really surprises me every time I watch this is that they are all wrapped. So it's not that she's buying shit and shoving it in the attic for later. It's she's buying them, she's going, oh, that's a Christmas present. She wraps it beautifully and then shoves it in the attic.
Yeah.
Which, like, how are you going to keep track of what you've bought if it's all wrapped?
That was my thinking too, especially later. I was like, how do you know what's in them?
I think I figure it out how they do that later, but at this point, yeah, how do you know that you haven't bought him 3 of the same thing?
Yeah.
Anyway, both she and Hen are very shocked at the pile of presents that Hen has pulled out. That Karen has pulled out of the attic.
Just quickly, the Christmas episode definitely happened before Michael tells Bobby that he broke up with his boyfriend.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
Was bugging me.
I did not care at all, so it wasn't.
I cared.
You cared,
but yes,
about
Michael had a boyfriend last Christmas, so that was.
So he really is alone this Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe we need to get him a cat so he'll stop breaking into his ex-wife's house.
So we also find out in this bit that they were discussing like what happened with the mum who had the heart attack, and she's going to be fine. They'll put a stent in. She'll be home soon, but not in time for Christmas. So the little boy is going to have to go to a group home until his mum is out of hospital.
Which triggers Hen to think about what would have happened to Denny had she and Karen not stepped in and taken him when Eve gave him up.
Yeah, see, I'd totally forgotten that Denny wasn't one of their, like, they weren't actually Denny's mothers. I don't know how that works. But yeah, I'd forgotten all about Eve until she says this, and I was like, oh, was Denny adopted? And I'm like, of course he was. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, yes. I forget too.
I was like, that was a while ago now.
Because technically he was adopted, but he was adopted when he was born, so it's the only family he knows.
Yeah, like, I mean, Hen was his mum anyway, but yeah. Yeah, that kid doesn't know how lucky he is, apparently.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very short scene, but I guess we get a lot of information in it. We go back to Athena, and Bobby jumps into bed and shoves a phone in Athena's face. But it says that his test results came back clear across the board, so he's in the clear. So Athena says she can finally breathe again. And Bobby says he doesn't mind working tomorrow because Christmas Eve was the night that you said yes. And then they decide to, rather than sleep for 5 hours, they're going to get busy. Oh, this next scene is so silly.
So it's we cut to
it's Christmas morning, right?
Well, it
the night before.
It's still Christmas Eve,
Yeah.
Yet again, we have an entire scene with this woman and we never get her name.
Mm-hmm.
I just started calling her I just started calling her Smurfette halfway through this. So
yeah, fair.
She's not Smurfette yet though. So we meet a young woman. It's Christmas Eve. She's on the phone with her mother. Apparently her mother is complaining because her daughter is being a terrible daughter and isn't coming over for Christmas because she has to work. And the daughter's like, not only do I have to work, I'm not going to be able to eat anything because of this frickin' toothache.
She does look like she's in a lot of pain.
Yeah, her mouth is literally killing her. And she blames her mother because she inherited her bad teeth.
I was looking at this girl thinking that I recognised her. And then I realised afterwards that she was giving me Kim Rhodes vibes. I think it was the haircut and the
the pixie hair and the...
Yeah, she just looked a bit like her. That. But yeah, I don't think I've seen her in anything else. It was just that.
No, I don't think so. So the not Kim Rhodes is in the bathroom as she's talking to her mother, searching her medicine cabinet for benzocaine. She's looking for benzocaine. She finally finds it. I don't know how much you're supposed to use, what the... I know it's not serving size, but what the recommended amount, the recommended dosage is supposed to be. But the amount that she squeezes onto her finger seems rather excessive.
Oh, it's a massive amount. It's like golf ball size, maybe bigger.
Oh, I'm terrible at judging things visually, but I was trying to figure out what that would be because it's definitely not like a pea size.
It was a chunk.
It was massive, and she shoves it into her mouth and rubs it over her gums and gets this look of relief on her face and leaves the bathroom. Then it's Christmas morning. Her alarm goes off. She's got to get ready for work. A hand reaches out and slaps on the alarm clock to turn it off, except the hand is blue.
Dabba-dee-dabba-da.
And she apparently has not looked down at herself since getting out of bed. I don't know how that worked, but manages to get all the way to the bedroom and closes the medicine cabinet that she left open the night before and looks at herself. Yeah. Sorry, yes. Closes the cupboard, sees the reflection of the mirror, and she is head to toe blue. And we are going to pretend for the purposes of this that her lips and her tongue and the inside of her mouth is also blue because it should also be blue. They just can't put paint up in there.
Mm-hmm.
So she calls 911 and she says, "I'm blue." And the dispatcher just says, feelings of sadness and depression are really common during the holidays. Let me direct you to our mental health hotline. She's like, no, I am literally blue, damn it.
She has a blue house with a blue window.
So dispatcher sends the 118.
Yeah. And this can actually happen, but I don't think that you go quite this blue.
Yeah, it's not like a bright blue. It's like a...
It's very Smurfy blue.
It's very Avatar-esque.
Yeah.
It reminded me of a tangent that I'll go into later if you want me to.
Okay.
We always want your tangents. This episode has been nothing but tangents. Apparently. I'm so sorry for Ellen having to edit this.
Interestingly enough, I think this is one of the rare emergencies where they knock on the door and their victim actually opens the door and lets them in. They don't have to try and break down the door to get in.
This is definitely, while they were opening the door, I was like, why did she have to call paramedics for this? She could have driven to the hospital.
Yeah, see, this is one of those things again, why people reach for calling 911 and getting an ambulance when they could have driven down to urgent care. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm guessing for the drama.
For the drama,
because then we don't get, her calling Buccanetti the two very handsome men that are going to search her apartment.
Her messy apartment.
But yes, I also find it really funny that she opens the door and I don't know what dispatch told them, but I don't think they were expecting head to toe blue because
all
of them
look
just
shocked.
recoil when she opens the door, and it takes Bobby a few seconds to like put his professionalism back in.
She's also ranting the whole time. She's like, my teeth hurt. I've got this avatar look. On top of that, I have to work today on Christmas. I mean, what kind of loser has to work on Christmas?
And then they all look at each other.
They all look at each other.
And she's like, oh, sorry.
Yeah.
So, yes, the handsome men go off to search her apartment because this wasn't humiliating enough already.
Yeah.
And they ask her what she's been using, blah, blah, blah. And then Eddie comes back from the bathroom with the benzocaine tube, of which she used the whole thing, and Buck holds up a trash can which is full of empties.
Yeah, Buck brings the whole... instead of just saying, oh yeah, and the trash can's full of it. No, he brings the trash can and shakes it.
Yeah.
And Smurfette is so humiliated by this that she starts seizing.
Yeah, they get her onto the floor and put the little CO thing on her.
Thingy on her.
Yeah.
It's the pulse ox wonder, but you know.
The thing that tells them how much oxygen, right?
Now, I'm going to need anybody with medical training. Does the pulse ox actually measure methemoglobin, or whatever the hell that is, levels?
Methemoglobin.
Or does it just measure your oxygen levels?
I thought it just measured pulse and oxygen, but...
Because I don't know where Hen is getting like this... Because they're getting very specific with the exact percentage of what's going on with this woman, and I don't think that they would be getting that with what they've got in their little bags.
Yeah, I feel like they probably should just be getting her to the hospital at this point. Although...
Yes, they should not be administering drugs at this point, because what if they're wrong?
Yeah. They're going to grab some methylene blue chloride.
Because as Eddie very helpfully explains, overuse of benzocaine can prevent the body from releasing red blood cells.
Yes. Thank you for medsplaining that to us. And she starts bleeding when they try to insert a needle.
What the fuck was Hen doing when she's inserting that catheter?
The blood should not be spurting all over the place.
I know that the point was they needed everyone to see the blood so that Buck can make the really hilarious comment of why is she bleeding chocolate syrup. But if Hen is causing that much blood loss when she's inserting the catheter, especially since we've been told that she's back, like I can imagine her doing this when she was still like in her Karen is grieving, it's fucking with me a little bit period. But she's supposed to be back. She's supposed to be better than, this. But we also do get the brilliant exchange of when Buck goes, so why is she bleeding chocolate syrup? And Chim says, because blood than a boy. And then goes on to explain it. So we've got Ayo rebar and blood than a boy.
Well, they said that the methylene blue stuff is going to convert her blood back to being red from the silver, whatever. And then Chim goes, I've never seen a case this advanced. Let's give her 2 doses. It's like, oh my God, what are you doing?
Fuck Chim.
Get her to a hospital.
But it's fine, it works. Her skin colour turns back to normal.
Yeah.
She wakes up and she's like, oh, not blue, but my teeth still hurt.
Oh, dear. How am I going to get through work, she says.
Pretty sure that having to call 911 because you were blue and then you started seizing will probably get you out of work.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, we're going back to the station house and Bobby is guiding the truck as someone reverses it.
He tells the driver of the ladder truck that we're good, meaning that the truck is it's in line. And then from behind him, he hears Athena say, "Yes, you are, Captain."
Yeah, you are. Those brows.
Not in front of the kids, Athena. So he asks his wife, "What are you doing here?" And Athena says, "We came to save you. Somebody said you were ordering takeout for Christmas." And Buck's all like, "I did want turkey." So So they all head for the kitchen. Eddie was the only one paying attention, or close attention, because he says, wait, did she say we?
And she did say we, because as they get to the top of the stairs, all of their families are there. Yay!
Oh, it's a huge crowd.
Except for Bucks.
Buck has no family there.
Buck has no family there.
All his
The 118
family
is his
already
family.
there. Yeah, they're all his family.
So Denny's there. There's a bunch of background firefighter family members, probably.
There was someone else in the truck with them when they arrived.
Yeah, background firefighters. It's fine.
But not the
know who it
background
is.
firefighter.
Not the background firefighter.
No.
Yeah, Christopher's there, and Eddie seems surprised. It's like, well, duh. Especially if Buck organised it, because, like, obviously.
It's like he watches Denny and Hen together and he's like, oh, that's sweet. Does not even cross his very beautiful, very empty mind that if Denny is there, then that would also mean that Christopher would be there.
Hey, Buck has the brain cell this episode.
Apparently.
But yeah, so Christopher and his abuela are there, and there's just a lot of people, mostly that we don't know.
We see Harry is there because he like tackles Bobby in this big hug while Christopher is being tackled in a big hug. And yes, this was all Buck's doing.
Yeah.
He not only did he want turkey and definitely did not want Chinese for Christmas dinner.
Apparently he's really against Chinese.
He tells Hen that she inspired him and that they should all immerse themselves in the magic of Christmas.
While pulling down a sprig of mistletoe and kissing her on the cheek.
He pulls it down and holds it up over her head, and I'm like, dude, number one, she's not, like, you are not her type. And
Yeah,
two, she's
her
married.
wife is standing right there.
Yeah, her wife is right there.
Oh, he's sweet though. He just kisses her cheek. It's fine.
Yes, he's very sweet. Hen repeats it, it's a great surprise, and Karen says, well, that's not the only surprise, that she and Denny brought a few guests. At which point, Denny disappears, and Hen looks over, and we see Leo, and a whole bunch of kids kind of crowded around the pool table that Hen apparently does not recognize. And so Karen was feeling very sorry for Leo not being with his mother at Christmas time, and convinced the social worker in charge of the group home that he got sent to allow the entire group home to come to the station house for Christmas lunch.
Yes, so there is a serious overcrowding problem at the home. Not enough foster parents to go around, and Hen has a light bulb over her head. And she's like, this is going to sound crazy, but maybe we should consider...
Karen's already there.
She's way ahead. Yeah. They've got an appointment already.
I love them so much.
So I think they're going to be trying to foster. And then Maddie arrives. So
Finally.
Jim goes downstairs to meet her. I don't know how he knew that maybe she texted him to say, we're here.
I'm assuming she did text him. Or maybe he's just been like hanging out and just watching, waiting for her. Because he seems very relieved that she's finally there. But she is not alone, because she's not the only one who has pulled strings and got people out of places that they should legally have been in, because she sprung Leo's mum from the hospital.
And she manages to, like, I don't know how she recognises Jim, because she was unconscious the entire time.
No, she
I don't
woke
know
up.
if she...
She woke
Yeah,
up.
she does wake up at the end.
That wonderful thing where as soon as they get a heartbeat, the patient immediately regains consciousness.
Right. But also, like, to be fair, she was just in the car with Maddie the whole time. So, like, I'm sure she's been like, oh yeah, like, my boyfriend was one of the ones that saved you.
Yes.
Yes. But yeah, she gives Jim a hug and...
Or like, who are you, lady? Why are you kidnapping me? No, I'm taking you to the... Like, it's fine.
She gets reunited with her son.
Leo comes, yeah.
Yeah.
He just, gives her a big hug and she's like, ow, ow, ow. She gives a bit of a wince as he does that.
Well, she's just had major chest surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah, that and he broke her sternum.
So they all go up for the food. Let's go eat before the bell rings. That's what Bobby calls down to them. So they say some grace and then they dig in.
Yeah, and the camera pulls back and we see that, like, everybody is at this main table. And I do not know how Athena got that much food cooked.
Yeah, considering they only had been planning this for...
Like 2 days, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And suddenly she's had, like, how many kids did we see from the group home show up?
Yeah, there's...
I mean, to be fair, there are other family members too, so I'm sure, like, Eddie's abuela probably brought a plate. Karen probably brought a plate.
You really think Athena would let other people help?
Well, she did say... Bobby said, I can't believe you pulled this all together without us knowing. And she says, Santa isn't the only one who has elves.
Yeah, right?
Oh, but then
then we cut to Buck, and he's just so proud of himself. He's huge smile.
It's my favourite, like, Buck gif. He's just, like, his entire face is just a smile. He's got, like, his hands clasped, and 2 miniature apples.
Yeah. Like, he shrunk somehow between the start of the episode and now. He's got smaller.
I don't know, he's so cute. But yeah, he
He's
definitely
so
had a hand in whatever happened. I really don't think he had anything to do with the cooking, though.
And Athena thanks him for helping with it. And she says, I think your New Year's resolution should be to use that head for good instead of evil. I'm like, Athena, what are you thinking of? what has he done?
What type of head?
Oh my God. But no, he hasn't done anything evil, ever.
Now
Stop
I'm
it.
wondering how blowjobs can be evil.
With teeth?
Ooh, but some people like teeth.
I guess it depends on your point of view.
Listeners,
anyway,
use your blowjobs for good, not evil.
Moving right along.
No, before we move right along, there was a quick scene where we see Athena's kids, what are their names? Harry and May distributing the presents, which I assume were the stash of presents that Karen and Hen had. And it looks like that one of the little flaps on the end of them has been opened. So they must have gone through and, like, opened or, like, kept one end open so they could see what was inside the wrapping.
Right.
Because later on, one present gets given to Christopher as well by Buck, who is so adorable when he does it. Like, gets down, like,
He's so
Christopher,
cute.
look!
He's the best stepdad.
He helps Chris open it, and one flap is already, like, not taped down and will fly straight up.
Bobby sees Michael lurking.
So he leaves his wife to continue talking about Buck's head and goes off to see why Michael is pouting over in the corner. And it turns out he's got a really good reason to be pouting and looking sad.
Yeah, he's like, this is a nice Christmas. And Bobby's just like, okay. Actually, this whole scene is really strange. Like, the music is, like, really ominous. And it makes it feel like Michael's about to attack somebody. Like, it's that kind of, what is happening? Because he says, you know, they mean the world to me. It's like, okay, are you about to go postal on Bobby or something? And Bobby's like, I think we're pretty lucky to all have found each other. And Bobby's like, what is going on? But yeah, Michael reveals to him then that they did some scans and they found a mass. So the headaches, ending up in the wrong bed, he has a tumour. And Bobby's
So I think that,
just
yeah,
doesn't
the
really know what to say.
melancholy and the sad music and the ominous music this is potentially Michael's last Christmas on this earth.
And he doesn't want Bobby to tell anybody else yet. Like, just let me have this Christmas.
And then May interrupts them. He's like, Mum wants to take a picture with everyone. And Michael's like, now that he's successfully dumped his burden on Bobby. He's like, "Oh yeah, sure, let's go take pictures."
And
Bobby's still just standing there, like, "What the fuck has just happened?"
And so when this scene came up, I was like, "Oh, this is the picture that we used at Christmas for the for the tweet that we put out." You
finally got the context for the scene.
Yeah, they all squeeze in around the table and take a picture for Merry Christmas.
I did have to check to make sure because they're using a camera on a tripod with a timer, and I had to make sure that like the random member of the 118 that sets the timer actually made it back in frame in time, because I would not have put Bobby past like, "Oh no, you take the picture."
Yeah,
you don't get to be in the picture. You have to take the picture. But
you take the photo, Anderson. My name's Ferguson. What the fuck, Bobby?
He makes it back into frame. So it's the core 118. It's Bobby and Michael with their arms around each other in the back row. It's all of their family members and a couple of random members of the 118 that have snuck in.
That were allowed to eat this week.
Well, I think everybody ate, but they might have been allowed to eat at, like, the main table. Because there were several tables set up.
There were several tables set up.
There were a lot of people on shift on Christmas Day.
I'm wondering if they don't have every firehouse open, but, like, I don't know. I don't know how they do it.
Well, they'd have to have a full quota of people, wouldn't they? Like, still, I'm sure there's plenty of fires still happen on Christmas Day.
Yeah, but they might rather, if you think... maybe each firehouse has like I'm just going to throw out a number here, like a 10-mile radius of what they respond to. Maybe on Christmas Day they double that radius so that other houses can drop off for that day.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
And they might rotate.
Or if they just do A shift one year and B shift the next year.
Yeah. Or how they deal with it with parents who maybe want to take the shift off to spend time with their kids.
Yeah, it'd be hard.
Yeah, I mean, as Christmas episodes go, this was, it had its ups and downs. I mean, it had some, like, really funny sections, but then also desperately sad. Yes.
Yes. Funnily enough, was not the Christmas episode I was thinking of when I remembered that we were having a Christmas episode this week.
Oh, okay.
Because I think I skipped over this one completely and I was thinking about the season 4 Christmas episode.
There's a season 4 Christmas episode?
Yes.
We'll get to that next year.
But yeah, I like that. I definitely didn't see the twist coming the first time I watched it.
Yeah, because, well, we did just sort of get the all clear for Bobby, so it was like, okay, thank God everyone's okay.
It definitely sets it up. Like you're thinking that Bobby's gonna end up sick, and then surprise, it's actually Michael.
Well, especially when they're like, Bobby receives some shocking news, and like he does receive some shocking news, but it's not related to him.
It's not him. Yeah,
it's somebody else's shocking news.
Yeah, they did do a bit of a bait and switch there.
Switcheroo. Yeah. Cool. So, what have we got on the cards for next week?
Oh, next week. Well, they when this first aired back in 2019, they had their Christmas hiatus.
Oh.
So this is the end of season 3A. So then next week's episode is the start of 3B, all the way in March.
Oh my God, we're almost in real time then.
Yeah.
Because this episode will air on the 11th of March. And then the episode that we're about to that we cover aired on March 16 originally, and we'll release it on March 18.
Right. Except it'll be 5 years later.
Except 5 years later.
Oh. But we're also like the middle of March is right when the COVID stuff started really getting serious, because it was like I managed to just have like a birthday party while we were still allowed to actually do that. And then
well, Queensland locked down later as well. We locked down in Melbourne very early. And for a long time.
Yeah, I don't remember. Oh, God, it seems like such a long time ago. And also, like, just the other day.
Not that long ago? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's not... I can tell you that we are not up to COVID times in the 911 time yet.
Okay.
But instead, the 118 are going to respond to a skydiving trip gone wrong, a bank rep injured in a home repossession, and a love-struck assistant whose lunch run ends in disaster. Meanwhile, Athena and the family come to term with Michael's difficult health decision, and we meet Albert, who is
I had
Chili's
no idea
half-brother from
Albert was in
Korea.
this season. I thought it was next season.
I'm so happy that Albert shows up.
Yes!
I
So
look
that
forward
is
to meeting Albert.
guest star John Harlan Kim, who as Aussie watchers of 911. I mean, I don't know if you guys are going to recognize him. I definitely didn't, but apparently he is another, like, soapy graduate.
Yeah, I think he's in Neighbours, but I
Oh.
didn't actually know until recently that he was Australian.
No, neither did I
because
until I saw.
watched...
Did you see the video call between him and Oliver, and just the accents were just
Yeah, and
completely
I
off
was
the
like,
wall?
what is happening right now?
Oh, now that I know that he's an Aussie, I'll be listening out. I'll be like, how's his
Yeah, I'm
American
excited
accent?
to rewatch, like,
Although,
now
if
that
he's-
I know.
Does he
He's
have an
from-
American accent, or is he
Well,
from
no,
Korea,
you-
so he's got a
yeah,
Korean
so you got to
accent?
think that it's like a Korean Australian playing a person who is like fresh off the boat from Korea.
Right.
So the accent is interesting.
Okay.
So, and I don't even know if we have any triggers for this episode. We don't. There are no triggers for the next episode.
Oh, then it'll be wholesome family fun.
I'm sure it'll be wholesome family fun.
It's
Can't
really
say anything
showing
wrong
up.
this
How
episode.
did I
Show-
get that?
Let me check. Oh, sorry. Yes. So we have continuing discussions of brain tumors. We have the trigger just says fish, but it is a little bit more involved than that because it's going to be like choking. We have
Buck, not again.
no, not Buck this time. We have foster parenting / positive. I don't know whether positive foster parenting is a trigger or not, or whether it was like foster parenting is possibly a trigger, but don't worry, it's good foster parenting. And we have some gore. So Damien is going to be thrilled because specifically we have intestines on the outside of the body.
Yay.
Oh, yay. Always a fun time.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, please let us know what you thought about this episode. You can leave us a comment on Spotify or anywhere else that you listen to this episode, or you can go to thatweewoo.com and find out all the other ways you can get in touch with us. We would love to hear what you thought of this Christmas shenanigans. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and we will see you next time to talk about episode 11, which is called Seize the Day. See you then.
Bye.
Bye.
911 is a fictional show, but many of the situations portrayed happen in the real world too. If any of the topics we've discussed in this episode have affected you, please know you're not alone. You can call or text numbers in your country for help. Just Google crisis support in your location to find out the number. If you enjoy our podcast, you can help us out by leaving us a review on Spotify or your preferred listening app, and by sharing our social media posts. Find out more at thatweewoo.com.
So my fun tangent,
Yes.
that you can completely cut out if you want, or put in the blooper reels, I don't mind. This scene reminded me of a story that I heard about the original Star Trek series.
Oh, yeah.
So there was an episode, one of the like very early episodes, where Kirk goes on, the Enterprise is off on their 5-year mission. They go to a planet, and there is a slave girl who is presented to Kirk, and she's dancing. And because it is an alien planet, this slave girl is supposed to be an alien, so they paint her green. And she's like in full green body paint, head to toe.
Yeah.
So they shoot the scene, and then they come back to watch like the dailies, and she's not green anymore.
Oh.
And they're like, what the hell is going on? So they shoot it again. Put her in all the body paint, shoot the scene, send the film, because it's like literally film back in those days, to the editing suite to get put together. They come back and watch the dailies. she's not green. She's a very healthy human pink. And they did this like 3 times until they finally figured out that the film was getting to the technicians who like adjust the color, and he assumed that somebody on set had fucked up. The lighting was the way the light was reflecting off this actress. It was giving her a greenish tint, so he was painstakingly recoloring her back to pink every single time. So they had to like tell them like, no, if somebody shows up on the film and they are a different color, they are meant to be that other color. Do not touch them.
They're lucky it didn't just they didn't just completely vanish her if she was green. Like, it's like, oh, it's a green screen.
No, but it was like back in the day, so there was no green screen. It was just on a set with a woman in green body paint.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the tangent. That was the thing that this scene reminded me of.
Beautiful.
That's funny. I love it.
Don't you love having like neurodivergence? We hear one thing and we just like our brain goes off in completely other directions. And we have to tell you what it is.
Absolutely.
That's what makes podcasting so much fun.
Are you done barking? Have you run out of barks for the night? Has your bark quota been met? Will your boss at the bark factory be satisfied with your barking? No?
Your barking performance?
Do you need a barking performance management?